All right, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about Terence Crawford, Shawn Porter, and specifically Terence Crawford's response to the WBO ordering him to fight Shawn Porter. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So Terence Crawford never ceases to disappoint me. This time with some absolutely, I don't know where he's getting it type of statement about the elite welterweights and how finally somebody is being forced to fight him. Let's, before we do that though, before we talk about that in the meat of this video, let me ask you to please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you've not already subscribed, and also like the video, share the video. It really does do a lot to help grow the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. So let's get into this. Terence Crawford is a WBO welterweight champion, and he has been ordered by the WBO to fight Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter is the former IBF welterweight champion and the former WBC welterweight champion, and universally recognized as one of the top elite welterweights. And the WBO just yesterday issued an order and made Shawn Porter the mandatory challenger for Terence Crawford, and gave them a date and a date by which to have a deal negotiated, or otherwise it goes to purse bids. So pretty much, you know the routine. Terence Crawford is now forced to fight Shawn Porter. Now, the funny thing is though, that when Terence Crawford responded to it, he said something that is the exact opposite of what we just talked about. Specifically, he says, "All the so-called elite welterweights have shown no interest in fighting me. Now one of them is finally being forced to. I will once again show why I'm the best pound for pound fighter in the world. Be ready." Okay, let's get this straight. Shawn Porter is not being forced to fight Terence Crawford. Shawn Porter is being given an opportunity to fight Terence Crawford. It is Terence Crawford that is being forced to fight Shawn Porter, and not the other way around. Just listen to what he's saying. He said, finally, one of them is being forced to fight me. That's ridiculous. The WBO ordered you as the champion to defend your title against Shawn Porter. If Shawn Porter doesn't want to fight Terence Crawford, Shawn Porter can walk away and nothing. What happens to Shawn Porter? Nothing. He loses his WBO ranking. Maybe he loses his WBO ranking, but more than likely nothing happens to him. But what happens if Terence Crawford decides not to fight Shawn Porter? Then Terence Crawford loses his WBO belt. That right there, just off the structure of the order from the WBO, you know who's being forced to fight who. But more crazy than that, it is Shawn Porter has been the one that has been asking for the fight against Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford, in fact, Terence Crawford, let's talk about who's actually been asking to fight people. Terence Crawford has publicly said he's not interested in fighting Errol Spence Jr. He's past that. That's the #1 guy in the weight division. So what do you mean one of these fight? Errol Spence is literally saying that he wants to have Terence Crawford in his next fight after the Manny Pacquiao fight. And if he can't get Terence Crawford, then he's going to have to move up. Terence Crawford has said that he wants to fight. Errol Spence has said that he's wanted to fight Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is saying the exact opposite about Errol Spence Jr. He says that he's past it. Because of he said it wouldn't even matter if you have the purse split was 50-50. He still doesn't know if he would fight Errol Spence Jr. He's past that. He didn't fight Danny Garcia, and he didn't fight Keith Thurman. I mean, I'm not going to say he didn't fight him. When have you ever heard Terence Crawford ask to fight Keith Thurman? When have you ever heard him ask to fight Danny Garcia, ask to fight Errol Spence Jr., or ask to fight Shawn Porter? But Shawn Porter specifically, Shawn Porter was the one that was pushing the fight. It was about a year ago or the summer before. It was either this summer or the summer before last that Kenny Porter, who's the manager for his son, manager and trainer for Shawn Porter, went to Al Heyman and got the go-ahead to start trying to pursue a fight with Terence Crawford. Did that pan out into anything? No. Terence Crawford said he didn't want to fight him. And here's the boot. Seeing as they said that they wanted to fight each other, Shawn Porter said he wanted to fight him. Why isn't, and how is it that Shawn Porter has to go to a purse bid or has to go the route of the mandatory? Because that's what Terence Crawford said. Terence Crawford said, if he wants to fight me, then yeah, sure. Become my mandatory, and if you're my mandatory, I have to fight you. That seems like Terence Crawford telling Shawn Porter, look, if you want to fight me, you're going to have to force me, Terence Crawford, to fight you, Shawn Porter. So to have him act like he's the one that, he's happy about this because finally somebody's being forced to fight him. I mean, it's like, dude, it's so ridiculous to say it that it makes me just have to say it again and again about Terence Crawford. Dude, there's something that is very, very, very not real about Terence Crawford. I'm telling you, something is just not real about the guy. Now, I'm not saying that he's not a good fighter. I know that he's a good fighter. He's an excellent fighter. However, if you look at the talent level of the people that he's fighting, you will see that it is absent. So you don't know, you really have never seen him challenged. I mean, it's just... But for him to try to turn it around on Shawn Porter like that, it's like, man, come on, man. We see what you're doing, dude. You got a guaranteed contract with Top Rank. You get $4 million a year. You get $1 million a year if they don't come up with somebody for you to fight. So you're just getting paid $1 million a year straight off the cuff. But in a recent interview between two people in his camp, they said that, hey, we were working with the disgruntled Top Rank. Top Rank's not happy, but we're going to fight Zepeda. Openly talked about fighting Zepeda and the fact that they were going to take $4 million for fighting Zepeda and joked about it. Like, who else do you hear joking about the fact that they're about to get a bunch of money for fighting a nobody? You don't hear anybody say that. You hear people at least talk about the fighters that they want to fight, or, I got to fight this guy because this is a mandatory. But they were actually looking forward to a fight with this guy, I think his name is Jose Zepeda, some second-class dude, second tier welterweight guy that 99% of boxing fans have never heard of. So it's just this is just par for the course with Terence Crawford and him just... Like, I remember having debates with people maybe 2 years ago about how everything was on Errol Spence Jr. to ask for the fight with Terence Crawford, even though Terence Crawford never actually asked and said he wanted to fight Errol Spence Jr. I just get Terence Crawford as being, I mean, it's almost to the obstinate, almost to the point of being ridiculous. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think. And with that, I'm out.